Welcome to No Flips, Just Mics, episode 10. This is CONQUEST, weekly wrestling podcast. Well, almost weekly. Didn't do it last week because of stuff. We aim to keep you up to date with all the latest in the wrestling world and hopefully entertain you along the way with our shenanigans. I'm Rhys Baldwin. Joining me, my co-host, Eric Hart.
Howdy.
And today, we have a few topics to talk about. You know, there's a lot that's gone on that last week and this week. And topic one, what better way to start than with the Mae Young Classic, which was quite a nice surprise for me. Like, I wasn't expecting as many sort of memorable matches. Like, they're coming out to the tournament. There are a lot of superstars now that I'm like, I actually know of, at least.
Yeah.
And that I'm invested in going forward.
That's good.
Like I knew about Toni Storm, I knew about Piper Niven, I knew about Serena Deeb very little, kind of. I just knew the Straight Edge Society days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But coming out to the tournament, out of the 32, I feel there's a strong 75%, which I'm like, oh, I'd pay to see them again.
I think that's fair. I'd agree with that.
There's a lot of the ones that went out in the opening rounds where I'm like, that sucks because I wanted to see more of them. And I was hoping the finals would be kind of like
more of its own show.
Its own show where we could have had some of them come back to have maybe like just other matches. But overall, a success. Now the first Mae Young Classic.
It worked.
The winner, Kairi Sane. I was trying to think then how to say the name.
Well, it's funny because when I first used them, changed it to Kairi Sane, I was like, now in Japanese, Sane would be pronounced Sane. So I was like, is it meant to be Kairi Sane or is it Kairi Sane? And it's like, no, they're going with Kairi Sane. It's like, oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that it makes sense because it's easier for an international audience to pronounce it then rather than get all over the place and be like Sane, and all that confusion.
Yeah, like how they go about.
Just keep it sane.
Because wasn't an Asuka meant to be said differently?
People say Asuka, and it sometimes sounds like this. When William Regal say it sounds like you're saying Asuka, which I
Asuka, yeah.
I'm always like, Asuka what? It's like, but it's pretty much it's like Oscar. So it would be like
right.
that.
So that's quite close.
The U is very like brief, so you don't accentuate the U in it. So it is pretty much close enough to it, I'd say.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Like it varies between things like Shinsuke. You could probably. I know people probably think Shinzuki if they look at the name.
Yeah.
That's how I used to pronounce Japanese names before I understood the pronunciation. It's like, oh, Shinzuki or Kensuke or stuff like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. Maybe, like looking at it, I would have probably Shinsuke.
Or Shinsuke or something like that. Wouldn't you?
That's what I would have said.
Yeah, that's the weird thing of pronunciations.
Yeah,
but anyway,
memorable matches in that tournament. Like for me, quite a few. Piper versus Toni Storm in the quarterfinals.
Oh yeah,
I felt that was a really strong match.
That was a very good one.
A lot of Piper's matches were actually pretty strong in general, not just
really
like
Piper.
Even like obviously the opening round ones were a bit shorter. They didn't have much time, but they still worked.
She had a good one with Serena as well.
Well, yeah, the one with Serena. Shayna Baszler's I thought they worked well. Really nice, fun.
They were really good sprints. They worked to like her strengths, so they really showcased her more than anything. And they were like to the point and made it look like she's like a formidable opponent.
Yeah,
she's getting this job done quick.
Yeah, like quick rear naked choke.
Getting that out of nowhere. The Candice LeRae one was great.
Candice LeRae finish where she goes for, was it Candice LeRae's Wild Ride drop down into it. I marked for that one.
I had a fear I was like, is this gonna be finished now? And I was like, wait, because Shayna was one person I knew had a good chance of going far. Like I knew she was someone that WWE had her eye on, mainly I think because of her MMA roots and her roots to like obviously Ronda Rousey and all that. It opens a gateway to different things, and yeah, there was a lot of I think there was a lot of impressive stuff. I wouldn't say like I don't think there wasn't a match that really like stood out to me as such. Like I feel like there was a lot of it was all like consistently like good.
Yeah, consistently good wrestling.
There was like a few minor ones, but that was mainly like the opening round matches. I thought there was a few ones I was like yeah, but then like everything else, like all the second round and quarterfinal and final stuff and semi-final stuff was all like really just on the like really solid. Just like everything's like this is good, you know, because they I feel like they obviously give them a certain amount. Like even because I thought they were going to get a bit more time as they went along, and they seemed to just get the same amount of time.
Yeah, about 10-15 minutes.
Which works anyway. I think, I don't know, I would have. I feel like I wanted to see something a bit more epic, in maybe from something.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the final kind of didn't quite get that full final feel.
It didn't feel like a finals. And in a way,
for me, it. Because Shane has been doing these sprints, it kind of opened up Shayna's her inexperience with pro wrestling a bit in terms of like there were certain bits I was noting that weren't gelling so well. Like the execution was a bit off, or there was something like the transition to things was like, oh okay, that was like she's still got like a few things to work on really to really get like I think she's got a presence down. She's got a good presence.
Yeah.
Her submission stuff.
Selling. Really good.
Oh,
when she's in a submission.
You've got a good point there. There was because this is one thing I did really like about it was how because it all started with the spear. She took the spear from Kyrie.
Yeah.
And for me at first I was like, is she legit hurt there? Because she looked like she was probably like holding it, and she held herself throughout the entire match there, and they kept. And Kyrie was consistent on working that rib area. Yeah. And obviously the elbow drop hits, and so it was like a really that was one thing I really liked about it. Definitely good with the selling side of things.
Not just sort of selling like facial expressions. When she's in a submission, she looks desperate, like her eyes widen, and you can see, she's reaching for the rope, she's clawing for the rope, she's trying to think of a way to get out, and I'm just like, she gets it. I think it was her match with... I think it was her second match. Was that against Candice LeRae?
No. It was the...
What was this? Oh, that was the third match.
Third match, yeah.
It was... Maybe it was the Candice LeRae one, actually, where Candice LeRae had her in submission and sort of reaching for the ropes and just that... on her face, and that's when I was like, okay, Shayna gets it. She knows how to sell. She understands the importance of it more than knowing how to. I think obviously she would know how to. But it's just
the basics are there. They're just I think maybe some of her control stuff. I think wasn't the smoothest, and it was like you can see. I could see like her flaws more in that match than I could. In the sprints, but I think she's definitely got something there that she's working with. Like she's still, I still really enjoyed what they did anyway.
Before it, when I heard, it's this MMA fighter turned wrestler, I was like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. And now I'm like, yeah, cool, yeah.
No, I agree. I feel like
Shayna's really transitioned well.
As she progresses, she's obviously only going to get better, and that'll help it. She's going to. She probably is going to be one of the top females in that promotion as time goes by. I would have thought.
Even her taunt. It took me, I think, until the second match to figure it out. I was like, oh yeah, that's a spade. She's the Queen of Spades, and then that's a spade.
Like just about dodging the diamond lawsuit.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Like what happened with
it's like, it doesn't have to do the bottom bit because your thumbs automatically form the bit coming out. So it's like...
I didn't even think about that. Well,
I was like, that is great. I like that. Just the small little things that get over.
Of course, in the end, we had our winner. It was Kyrie, who was I think the favourite for many, or the one that was
only Japan one in that tournament.
Surprisingly, the only Japanese thing, because they did originally. I think Io Shirai was meant to compete, and they were going to sign her.
Right.
She had a neck injury, and because her neck wasn't doing too well, WWE made a pass on her, like completely. So she's back in Stardom now. Because apparently her neck is really not in a good thing, even though she's still wrestling now. I think she took a bit of time off and then she suddenly came back. So
bit risky.
I don't know what's going on there, but apparently they took a pass on her because of that, because they don't want to risk it. So I was surprised they didn't have more Japanese. Obviously, like a lot of the women had worked in Stardom and had worked in Japan before anyway.
Yeah,
like
definitely there's a wide range.
Toni Storm, Piper. I think Dakota Kai might have as well, and a few others. So
yeah, Dakota Kai, I believe. Yeah, she's on the NXT roster.
Yeah,
anyway,
she had a different name on the Indies. I can't remember what it was, but I know that her Dakota Kai's her NXT or her WWE name. So, like a lot of them were like in the opening round, they had a lot of developmental. A lot of the people in the Performance Center in the opening round.
Yeah, which made sense. It gives them a little.
Yeah, it gives them experience.
So, spotlight, like the Chinese.
Xia Li.
Yeah.
And I know.
I know Sarah Logan. She's NXT at the moment. Not Abby Lath. Lacey Evans, is it?
Yeah, Lacey Evans. No.
Yeah,
it is Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans is
the pin-up. Kind of.
And Bianca Belair is as well. Bianca Belair was a performance, but she obviously got further than the opening round. But to be fair, she's impressed the hell out of me as well, especially with the whole hair thing. And
that's just the cool
athleticism of her. Like you really did get it. Gives a good sense, and it shows a lot of potential and hope for the future of the division.
Yeah, definitely. Because
once these girls start coming in and honing in, it's gonna be like.
Yeah,
it's not a fast process, but it's a steady one that was going to pay off.
And stuff.
It's going to pay off like full well once it gets going. Once more people come up, and
I think once a lot of the women from NXT came up to Raw and SmackDown, it was kind of like, oh, what's left of the NXT women's division? Because there was Asuka, there was Ember Moon, and a couple of the other ones which. I'm not going to say are forgettable, but I don't regard them as high.
Well,
I kind of just like.
Well, yeah, at the time they had.
I was like,
Yeah, it was literally Asuka, Ember, and then it was Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, who are
Ruby Riott now.
Nikki Cross. Now you've got all of them. These new other ones that are coming in, and
Ruby Riott is great. Nikki Cross is just.
Great. They're all
crazy.
No, they have great. Like,
as much as I don't like them, it's probably because they are heel, iconic.
The iconic duo.
They're good. Like not like in terms of just wrestling. They get me invested in something because I'm just like I just want to get you beat up.
It's funny they've
beat up.
Progressed well. I've noticed them developing well because they were. I think they were a bit iffy in the start, and they've really like honed themselves and become a lot better as the months and weeks have gone by. So they're definitely on a good path with that. And obviously, Kyrie now, since for winning, she gets she's the one woman that's in the match at NXT, the next NXT Takeover in Houston,
Survivor Series weekend.
She'll be in the match for the vacant NXT Women's Championships, and now it comes down to whoever's going to end up facing it. Probably Ember Moon, I'm guessing.
I'd have to guess Ember Moon.
Ember Moon seems like the most likely candidate.
The other women are in their own program at the moment.
Oh, that is true. You got Ruby and Nikki together, and Billy.
I don't know what Liv Morgan's doing at the moment. Because I haven't been keeping up to date properly with NXT.
She hasn't really been on the show much.
No, I didn't think she had.
But I guess they're going to probably end up having some kind of tournament
Yeah.
And then whoever wins versus Kyrie NXT.
Yeah,
And we'll see how it
that'd be
goes from
cool.
there.
So overall, the Mae Young Classic was a success. You know, it was the first ever, and they made a point of saying the winner of the 2017. So it makes it sound like they're happy that they're going to go forward with.
If there's
maybe
one
some
tournament
others.
I think they could go for is the Mae Young Classic again.
Yeah,
Make it more animal.
compared to the Cruiserweight and
I feel
UK.
like women wrestlers need more of a platform to showcase in.
Yeah.
A lot of, because a lot of the thing with the Cruiserweight division, a lot of people knew people in the Cruiserweight division, and also a lot of them were just like very well regarded indie people anyway.
Yeah.
That were, so I'd happy for them to do another tournament next year or something.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm hoping to see some of the superstars this year in WWE for the next couple of years.
For sure.
Tony Storm is great, just awesome.
I'm totally
talent.
on board with that. Just get some other men, some good talent in. Let's see how it goes.
So yeah, that's the end of topic 1. Topic 2 is something you suggested, and it's all about the perception of wrestling going from when we were wee little lads watching it going, yeah, RKO, yeah, Few, yeah, Stone Cold Stunner, yeah, Rock Bottom. And now we're more like, oh, good, yes, that was good.
Well, it's
a classic, maybe.
Well, it's down to like how you as you grow up, it's kind of like a lot of people when they watch wrestling as kids, a lot of them drop off as they get older.
Yeah.
Don't they? And I think you end up just finding new reasons to, and the reason we stay on is you just kind of,
I think to appreciate it a bit more.
Yeah, it's an evolution essentially. Like I know for a fact my taste and my perceptions of things has changed so completely. Like I said, when I first started as a kid, for me a good match was the amount of moves was in the match. How many moves are in this match? I hated brawls. This is one of the reasons I wasn't a fan of Stone Cold growing up, because he was like, all he did was like punch.
Yeah.
And
Luther's bang, bang, bang.
It took me a while to really get into anything that was WWE brawl like. Like a lot of people, and it's one of the reasons it took me a while to really appreciate the Austin Bret Hart match from WrestleMania.
Right.
Like I used to be like, I'm
Did
not
that start,
seeing this.
Does that start off with a fight? No.
They do. They brawl around the crowd, which I still hate. That whole entire spot of brawling the crowd, I think it's boring as shit. But I was just like, okay, what cool, what cool. And for years, my main thing was just like, I used to love finding new moves and like looking at new moves and just like, I just scour around, just like, oh, look at this new move, look at this move. And then if someone did something more, like, there's a bunch of Japanese wrestlers who are obviously they don't exactly do much in flashy moves. Perfect example, Yoshihiro Takayama. He's just like a big guy, does a lot of strikes, hits like a suplex or something, or like a submission, and that's his game. For me, I was like, well, that's a bit pants, really. Like, as a kid, I remember his finisher was called the average German suplex, right? And the only reason it's called that is because he's a big lad that does a bridging German suplex. Right. So it's like getting, German by an average tree or whatever.
Yeah, I get you.
And when I first heard that, I was like, oh, it's going to be really interesting. When I saw it was just a German suplex, I was like, pass. Like, I used to think like a lariat as a finish was boring as hell. I hated it.
Yeah.
And strikes as finishes, and it took me so long to really appreciate like just certain bumps or certain like things. Like I never thought about the hurt or the pain that went into it. Like now I see something stiff and I'm like, Jesus, that was stiff. As a kid, I was like, they're just striking. Give me some moves.
So what about the super kick? That was technically a strike.
Again, perfect example. My first ever encounter with Shawn Michaels was SmackDown 2, the video game. SmackDown 2, right? What's
that called? Know
Your Role?
Yeah.
No, that's... Yeah, it is Know Your Role.
Know Your Role. Because 3 is Just Bring It.
That's the one. So, he's on that game, and when I saw his finisher was like sweet chin music, I was like, what's that? When I saw it was
sweet chin music, it does sound a bit.
When I saw it was a super kick, I was like, oh. And I never played as him for years then, because I was just like, what a boring finisher.
What?
It's, I got.
Did he tune up the band in that game?
No, he just does it. He just does it, and then they like land on the neck. They like neck it. It's like really weird. It's like a really weird animation.
Okay.
So like it's just like that was me.
Brilliant.
That was me as a kid. Like I was like always just weird. So there's a lot of matches where I never really got to appreciate them. Like it was different with hardcore matches, because obviously hardcore matches it was more down to hardcore spots. Like wow, that's awesome.
Hardcore. Yes, a good bit of fun.
But like I feel like I only really started to get out of that when I started appreciating. I got into technical wrestling more when I started.
Yeah.
Like when the wrestling channel was on, World of Sport used to bore me. I'd put World of Sport on.
I couldn't watch it. I couldn't do it.
And now, watching now, I love watching it because some of the tech stuff is just so like wonderful.
Yeah.
And it was just I think it was mainly when I was getting more into Japanese wrestling and I started getting more into the tech side and realizing my appreciation. And from there, I kind of just like started like noticing things more and started getting more, and then eventually I started getting more into the story side of things and just everything else around it. But for years, it was literally like moves in the match.
Well, for me, obviously, I was very high on the finishers. I was like, oh yeah, these moves are awesome. I need to see them, blah, blah, blah. But I was very, like, I don't know what the word to describe it would be, but I was very story focused. What is the story going into it? Oh, he done his wife in or something, so they got to fight. Yeah, it probably never happened like that, because that just wasn't a story. But that was a made up story I just made up. But it was that the whole story. Why are they doing it? Why are they fighting? It's like, oh my god, Kane's mask is off. Now he's going mad on RVD. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And then I started, I think about 2008, I think. No, 2009 probably. 2009 onwards was when I was more appreciative then of the technical aspect of it and the psychology behind the match. Why are they doing stuff as opposed to, come on, just do stuff. It's, why are they doing it? Because before it was very much, I loved the brawls. I loved them because like, oh my god, yeah, God, they're fighting, go into the crowd, and like the Raw and SmackDown brawls that they used to have, and I was like, yeah, come on, big fights like that. I just loved. I don't know why. I think it was just fun. I just found them fun.
They are energetic, and watching them back, I kind of, like I said, I get more appreciative of them. But at the time, it was just, I think it was because this.
Because anyone could do it.
And it's also because the strikes don't generally just not look like
sometimes legit. They look weird.
And it's like, I just wasn't, I think for me, just seeing like the way people could just do stuff in moves was just like really interesting to me, more than just striking. Like if I wanted to watch just people punch each other, I'd watch a kung fu movie.
Yeah, anyone can punch each other.
Or like a martial arts film, because there's. But wrestling moves were kind of like just this thing, and I wouldn't, and I still do like really just like, I mean, I appreciate when I see a wrestling move in a movie, I'm just like, yeah, like for me that like ups the ante for anything, like so it's like, also my brother had a really interesting theory as a kid about how to know when someone's gonna win a match, and weirdly it worked a lot of the time. He basically was like, okay, the first wrestler who does the first strike and move of the match will lose.
Right.
And surprisingly, that would end up being the case quite a few times. So I was like, okay, this
Fair
is an
enough.
interesting thing.
I never really
For some reason,
noticed.
my brother always tells me this, and he thinks that I can't remember thinking this at all, but I used to think that when they would put someone through the announce table,
Yeah.
they'd have like a device that makes the announce table collapse.
Yeah.
Like it would be like an explosive device or something underneath it, or something that makes the device collapse. And I can't remember. And my brother reckons that was my.
I remember thinking like sometimes there's something going on with the announce tables to make them fall the way they do. Is like the plain obvious one was Shane McMahon jumping off the cell. You could see that there was like a cushion.
I mean, they needed that for that,
obviously,
because of the size. But sometimes they are like that.
Like that, I get. I'm not like disputing it, but you could just see like the way it landed, and then the tail kind of just went like it deflated underneath. That was like, oh yeah, and I was like watching other table bumps, and I was like, what is going on? Like, because obviously with the match last week on SmackDown, Orton and Shinsuke. Orton gives Shinsuke backdrop on it. It doesn't collapse. They're rigging these tables, I think.
Oh no, it is to do with the structural thing.
That's like, how do they make sure that it just doesn't accidentally fall apart?
I think it's down to like a support in them or something. And sometimes you can't help it; they will just fall apart.
like the announce tables are just there, and the one commentator just goes, "Damn it!" smashes, and it's like,
I think you do need some force unless you're Triple H giving Angle a pedigree at SummerSlam 2000 where it fell through before.
Yeah.
I think that's an example of that not working out too well. But
it's like, yeah, there's times where was it where they've sort of almost gone for it and it just collapses before they actually do the move, and I'm just like, oh my god.
It's tough when that happens. I mean, you know, you could, these things can be very volatile sometimes.
Yes, these damn tables.
But yeah, it's I think it's interesting just to see how how things have changed and how you kind of develop things.
Technical wrestling is no longer just, oh god, they're just hugging each other now.
I fucking love tech. I really do.
Now it's very much, oh my god, look at that.
It is, and I'm still impressed by a lot of, like, some of that 70s British stuff, or the 70s, 80s British stuff. You just watch it and you just think, I don't see anything like that now.
Yeah.
Some reversals, I'm just like, that is just like, how do you come up with something like that?
Yeah.
And it's really like it's super impressive.
It's funny, like when people nowadays are doing this tech which all looks fresh. It's like, no, it's not fresh. They've probably just gone back to the 70s, watched a few matches and got some stuff like from there
in the
era and brought it into the new era.
2000s especially was the year that everyone was innovating, like every big weird flashy move ever.
Yeah.
And like you'll see people now and they'll be like, look at this from like 2005. Someone should just do this now. This is a great little move. And like people, and it's like really like, because there's that big indie boom where just like everyone was just doing everything, and it was like, I think that's one of the things I was liking, was like, oh, look at this move. I was move obsessed. That's how I was. I still do like a good, interesting move every now and again, and I appreciate
a good, interesting move.
Now and I appreciate the counters and the things more, and just general, like I said, bumps to it. Like certain things where I was just like, I never really looked at that and appreciated that when I was a kid, because it was just something. It could have been just like an elbow to a face that looked stiff. And I was like, as a kid, that would have just been like blank, or suplex over the rope spot. Like as a kid, I might not have thought much of that, but now I'm just like, that's fucking nuts. Jesus, careful with that.
Yeah, you just, because we're more,
I feel like
we know more about wrestling. We kind of know the ins and outs of how a match put together, or the various ins and outs.
Experience it for yourself.
Watching for stiffness, and you just know.
Because because you'll look things now and you'll know how certain things feel. And
it's like, oh damn! It's like stuff on the outside. Before, it never really clicked that stuff on the outside actually hurts when you take a move on the outside. because literally underneath the maybe inch or two of padding,
it's concrete.
It's concrete.
There's no bounce, so it's just.
Ow.
I've landed like it's like, I've landed on a mat in a fucking gym or something.
Oh yeah, though they are nice.
And it's like that's essentially what it's feeling like, and I'm just like,
yeah,
God damn,
it's not nice.
No.
So yeah, perception's changed. It's less about how much they can do, and more about the quality in which they do it.
It's more about everything now. Even like
Quality
to be fair, I've
over
never
quantity.
really thought that I've been like characters have never really been much of a thing for me as such. They are a bit more now, but as I was always like
was
kind
never
of more
really
like
character based.
I was more about
based, yeah.
what was going on. I think that's why I was a big Japanese wrestling fan, because it was more about what was happening in the ring to me, and that's why I was enjoying. That was my enjoyment from it than what I was doing. So, but yeah, it's
a funny little thing.
It's really interesting when you think about it, because it makes you think sometimes what other kids are watching it, what's investing.
Yeah, what are they thinking?
Do they feel the same? Are they like me? Are they loving the moves?
RKO.
Just the character things. That's the wonderful thing about wrestling. You can get different.
It's for everyone. Everyone gets
everything.
something out of it, unless you don't like it.
Different things to appreciate. Yeah, sometimes people just don't get it, and I know that.
Yeah,
but that's fair enough.
But we're not growing up anytime soon.
Wrestle fans for life.
Topic 2, finish. High Spots time! And High Spots, of course, is us running through some of the highlights throughout the week, but we've got some highlights from last week because we didn't do a podcast
and last week. Was a good week, so,
It was.
Yeah, so.
Last week. Whatever the date is, the date for today is the 14th of September, so last week you can do the math.
A last Monday.
Big Show and Braun Strowman in a steel cage match. One of the best steel cage matches I have ever seen.
Oh, for sure. But it was fair play. Like,
what?
What a feud they've had, Big Show and this, Strowman. I really enjoy all of their matches, and I just think.
If you remember, I think it was a few weeks back when we were predicting SummerSlam, I said Braun Strowman, I'm not really big on him. I can't. Yeah, I'm big on Braun Strowman now.
Yes,
I'm getting behind him. I'm starting to see. Yes, he just does a power slam. Yes, he just does some bits and bobs. But he can drop kick. I knew that before. But it's I'm appreciating he doesnn't have to do more than.
Oh no, for sure.
Certain moves. They are protecting him, I think, but I'm just getting behind him. The stuff he's doing with Lesnar, I'm a Braun lever.
It's funny because I had a feeling in that match I had a feeling I was either the finish is going to be someone who's getting thrown through the cage or something like that.
Yeah. And
once they were done and they were still I noticed there was some minutes left, and I was like, he's just gonna throw him through, and I was like, yeah, he did.
Yeah, that final bit was the icing on the cake for the obviously it was after the match, but it still counts as the sort of match.
And they did the superplex as well. To show
yes.
Reinforced ring for was it 3 times reinforced or 2 times reinforced?
I don't know, but it didn't look like
they're really trying to
much. It looked like it hurt, to be honest.
They were trying to push it it's been reinforced to hell.
But yeah, good match, and by steel cage standards, one of the best steel cages I've ever seen, because I usually just get bored of them.
I think it helped with the atmosphere because the crowd were
crowd were behind it.
That's one of the big things about it, is when having that crowd invested makes it more you get
it does it is easier to get into it. And afterwards the crowd, apparently they gave him a nice send off. They said they were chanting "You still got it" as he made his way up the ramp, because I think he's going away for hip surgery or something.
Yeah, he's got an injury, I think, and he's got he's
so that was a nice little last match for him to have.
It's nice because he's, like I said, this year, his Strowman matches has been some of the best of his career in my eyes, and I'm just
some of his big versus big, a lot of the time, big versus big sometimes is just very.
I feel
strange, but
it's weird because Big Show for me, I feel like I've always enjoyed his big versus big matches.
Yeah.
Because there'll be like, I think like a couple of, there'll be like, you'll have matches with Kane and I'll really
Yeah.
like them. Like they just always seem to just work for me. So I think he just worked really
the
nicely.
Carly ones.
Well, but there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
You know, Carly can only
To be
do
fair,
so
Big
much.
Big Show Kane, Big Show Braun, Big Show.
I mean, his
Even
Henry
Big Show
matches
Big Cass. I
have
was
been
kind of like, ooh, this could be interesting, but yeah, Big Show Henry as well. There's something about the matches, like I do like it when big guys fight.
I just like a good horse fight. That's just like
I like this whole idea of Battle of the Behemoths. You know,
it does always feel special.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And so that was good from that week, and also we had the Cena, Jason Jordan match. They did. That was a really good match.
I want to say it took me by surprise, not because Cena pulls out a good match or Jason Jordan, because I knew they both could, but it was the fact that they had those two together and they allowed them to actually have kind of a show-stealing match.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. They give him a nice amount of time. It's given Jordan a good showcase. I think this is helping Jordan in a good way.
This is the point to add, I guess, in one way, how I think it was Road Dogg or someone was right.
Oh yeah, the
wins sometimes don't matter, but
if you can make an impression,
that's the thing. These losses are good. Like, he's going against main event talent week in, week out for the past 3 weeks. I can't remember who he versed before Cena. Balor maybe.
Oh, he did burst Balor, yeah.
It's good for him to display what he's got. He's losing, yes, but he's coming close.
I mean, it's great. I think Reigns helped last week because he came out after the Cena match and said, "Oh, he couldn't beat a rookie in like 20 minutes," and then the week after he's struggling as well. So it just showed.
I guess a handshake from Reigns afterwards.
So it's like and to be fair, those little banter-offs have been quite funny. I mean, I say banter-offs. I've seen a destroying
Your
Reigns,
mama.
essentially.
Yeah.
The big dog.
The big dog.
Yeah,
but both Jason Jordan versus Cena, Jason Jordan versus Reigns are highlights for the past week or so, because they're just good matches.
Yeah, they've been
good matches.
Good ideas, and they've worked. So.
Some spots where I'm like, ooh, Jordan could win, Reigns could win. Obviously Reigns won, obviously Cena won, but it's building a better Jason Jordan for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's good they're doing this now rather than because they were gonna obviously chuck him in with Miz for the title, and the crowds weren't quite there with him. So this, I think, is
now I could happily see him
helping build it. Yeah, exactly.
It's
really helping,
even though I love Miz,
him build up. So
yeah, congratulations to Miz and Maurice.
Oh, they got their baby
on the way. Miz, my boy.
Also, I quite enjoyed the match out of Jeff Hardy last week as well. I thought that was pretty good.
Well,
quite a nice match.
I don't know what it is. Jeff Hardy and IC title matches, just mwah, mwah, mwah.
He does work, even though his body might be dead at the moment, but he's still doing what he can. I play to him.
I just love the thought of Hardy just in singles competition. Even both of them, to be honest, they're both good tag and singles competitors. What else from last week? SmackDown, we had Orton versus Shinsuke, which I just actually recapped before we started recording. Good match. From what I saw the highlights.
I think a lot of people were not sure what to expect from it. Because that's like that all with Orton matches. Sometimes you're like, how's this going to go with Orton? But they did it. I think they did really good. I thought it was a really good match. Like, they really worked it well. We had the bloody RKO armbar spot. I was like, that was that's what I like.
Sick.
And that was a really nice highlight from last week, really. So like I said, last week, pretty good week for both Raw and SmackDown. They're really I think they're doing well at the moment. They're on a good, nice little run. And then, which leads into this week. We've mentioned the Jordan Cena. That was a good match. And
Jordan Reigns we kind of touched on as well. That was another good one.
We had the Strowman Lesnar whole shebang. Which
fighter? Are you ready? I love that segment. Just from beginning to end, I was hooked. Heyman just does his job well. He
Heyman
knows
always
his
does,
stuff.
even when sometimes he can be a bit repetitive.
He
but
can
it just
sell
works.
dirt to
It
a ditch
works.
digger, man. He can. Yeah, the whole fighter, are you ready thing. Even though Strowman had a match later on, Strowman came out, done his with Lesnar.
But yeah, took a German, got straight back up. Like that was.
Yeah, that was the moment where I was like, okay, I'm sold. Yeah, I want to see more.
The thing people are wondering is he gonna take the German? Are they gonna let him?
I'm sure he's taken it in the past.
I think he's almost at it, but not quite. Because all I can remember from his interactions with things is back in the Rumble when he was still like a bit green. There was still like some. And
it looked like he just didn't want to take flex.
So it's like this time he like took it, really nicely, and then just got up and just like beat Lesnar and shows him that he's the.
Quite possibly. Braun Strowman, now that I've seen slight bit more, I know it's only been a few weeks, maybe one of the best big men ever. I can agree with in terms of his versatility. Like he can obviously give moves, but he's not just giving moves. He can take them, like taking that German suplex the way he did. There's like not many big men could do what he did.
It's impressive to do that because those kind of things can go.
Sometimes it just looks bad and they just land a little on their back guys. As a big guy, I can appreciate obviously taking moves. It doesn't happen often. Like Big Show, who's going to throw him around the ring half the time? Lesnar sometimes, Kane maybe, but it's not often they come across people who can do it.
It's tough to do it.
But when it can, it's nice if they can actually take the moves properly. He could be one of the greatest big men if he stays in there another few years. And
he's got good momentum behind him. He's got the crowd. Behind him as well, so it's working for him. He's had a hell of a year, really. Essentially,
what else
gone wrong? I
skimmed
the main event tag match, and I kind of.
We had Enzo and Miz. That was just
which was a weird segment.
But yeah, Sin City SmackDown then.
That was the big one.
That was 3 title matches. The US title match I think opened as the first match. That was Dillinger and Styles. Solid. You knew Corbin was gonna get involved. You knew.
I mean, at one point I did think Dillinger the Piv 10. Oh no, what do you call it? The tiebreaker. I was like, oh shit, is he great? And then it was like,
yeah.
That was a good near fall. Fifthly.
Yeah.
Because it was a good match. The tag title match, as usual, they've been delivering really well with that.
Really New Day and Usos, they're just good together. They are really good together.
Yeah, they got great chemistry on that. We want the Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell.
Usos, New
Day.
Day.
Blow the roof off. Trust us.
Playing a little hot potato at the moment. New Days, Usos. New Days, Usos.
So I feel like
who has the belt.
Doing that keeps the feud going. It should give to Hell in a Cell.
When they do hot potato, I don't see it as devaluing the belt. I see that the competition is so fierce.
It makes them look even. There's no one's more dominant than the other, and like I said, it keeps a feud going. It helps the feud keep going.
I like when it happens.
Unless you do like a screw job finish, you can't do with a street fight. With a street fight, someone has to win.
Yeah.
And if Usos won, that would have been like them winning 2 weeks in a row. There's no reason for the feud to go on. But I do feel like they are building to the hell. They better be building to the Hell in a Cell match. Just do it.
The Uso Penitentiary.
It'll happen. You can do this. We believe in you, WWE. Sometimes,
Yeah.
Just get it done.
And what I liked is the nice little touch of having Xavier Woods not ringside for the match itself, because they finally sort of cemented on, Usos we're not having an excuse when we win, blah blah blah, and the New Day still won. And I was like, okay. Cool. They done it. They didn't have to have the third person involved. What else? You had the women's championship match then. Naomi and Natalya. Decent. The finish was obviously screwy because they Carmella at ringside. Now, they're doing this whole thing with Carmella teasing the cash in, what have you, and I'm just like, when you're out there, when you're obvious, you're not going to cash in. We just know you're not going to cash in. It's like, we know that something's going to happen between the competitors in the ring and her to stop her then from cashing in whoever wins. But just go backstage.
But there's still always
try and cash in.
Chance, really.
It makes her out to be stupid, because like, if you got the briefcase, why do you want to be just sitting out there waiting when someone could literally just come out, backhand you, and then run off?
It's making people like distracted a little, I think, and it's you kind of always got in the back up. You want to be prepared for it just in case. So it's like very like, because if she's backstage, I think it's less of a concern than when she's out and it's there like over your head.
Well, yeah, it's obviously,
you can forget about it when
but...
obviously you can forget about it when it's back, so maybe that's better, but at the same time when you've got, I don't know, it's she just likes to be that's just her character, though, and she's flashy.
Yeah.
She likes to show off, so I feel like that's just like what she's dealing with essentially. And then obviously we've got the whole Owens Shane feud coming to a big progression.
Yeah.
And Owens giving Vince the proper headbutt full on to the head.
That was nasty. That headbutt was nasty. And then obviously proceeding with the frog splash, super kick.
He kicked him and beat him up. And 72 years old, Vince, and he's still
it's crazy
to take a beating.
Yeah.
Because that was, that's all his idea, and just like I'm sure Owens was like, but you don't want to disappoint the old man, and you don't want to give him something. Things are just like fight. I mean, I think a lot of people would love to headbutt their boss, but sometimes.
Yeah. But we get, of course, now Shane and Owens inside Hell in a Cell at Hell in a Cell. Can't wait for that. Owens, really solid worker. Yeah. If we look back at WrestleMania, Shane Styles, we know that can work. We know this can work, and especially it's in Hell in a Cell. You're going to see something special.
Bust out the hardcore bits, fucking coast to coast.
Coast to coast. Maybe are they going to do a top cell thing?
I mean, Owens would do something like that.
Yeah.
Owens got the balls.
Owens is crazy.
I mean, that from some of his ladder spots, taking half and half on the ladder.
And his last cell experience, getting powerbombed through the two tables. The one was leaned from the ring against the cell, and the other was underneath. That weird contraption.
That's right.
Owens will take it. Shane will take it. They'll both do good.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that's all for the high spots for the past 2 weeks. Time for a little segment we call the Hart Attic, in which Eric here takes us on a little adventure to a faraway land, also known as Japanese wrestling, or Mexico wrestling, or wherever.
Hey, maybe British. I don't know.
Maybe. Have you watched any lately?
No.
Well then,
but
where are we going this week?
Well, I could mention the news. We got 5-star with a new TV deal, and Progress wanting to run Wembley next year. So you got two opposite sides of the spectrum there with announcements. Yeah. And that's something.
That is something.
But a bit of I say slow. It wasn't a slow news week because New Japan had one of the 3 destruction shows they've got going on, where it's basically like a show that's headlined by some kind of title match.
Right. Okay.
So the one I had on the weekend was Big Mike Halligan versus Minoru Suzuki for the Never Openweight title in a lumberjack match. I didn't watch it, and as far as I'm aware, it wasn't very good. So. Bit too much of the
lumberjack matches really are.
Well, one of the biggest problems is Minoru Suzuki is now almost 50. He's like 47, 48, and he has a faction called Suzuki Gun. If you're unaware,
right?
Suzuki Gun are like heel faction. So a lot of this stuff is like getting involved and interfering and like little antics like that, which can sometimes be a bit annoying, depending on how it's done. And apparently that was like a lot of that because Suzuki, when he's like and the problem is a lot of people want to see Suzuki as he is, the stiff man who just like brings out the best in people and just like goes hard and just like really, like we saw at the G1 in his match against Okada, but like this time it's just been like apparently wasn't exactly the best. The stuff I have seen though, I watched the Noah show, which was the one with Eddie Edwards against Katsuhiko Nakajima, where Eddie Edwards wins the GHC title, as I mentioned on the last one. Really great match, really definitely worth checking out. Show itself, first half is very underwhelming. Everything's kind of a bit flat. But then they ended with like 3 title matches, and all 3 title matches delivered, so that's the main thing. You can't really complain there. Yep. And they're gearing up for their big show in October now, which is going to be headlined by one of my favourite wrestlers, Marufuji, against Eddie Edwards for the title, and then they got a host of other things happening, and some of it looks a bit stodgy to say the least, but and some of it looks like this could be good. So and I've also been watching, I've got a review coming up for Voices of Wrestling. Recently announced they launched a campaign. They've started this thing called the Top 50 Wrestlers of Pro Wrestling Noah.
Right.
They did one for ROH last year, so basically voting doesn't start till like March next year, so they've got all this time for people to like campaign for like top 50 wrestlers kind of thing. So in lieu of that, I started watching every single GHC heavyweight title match there is in history, which Noah's only been around for 17 years, so you know it's not an undoable thing because there's only usually around 6 or 7 title defenses per year. I've got part 1 coming out, which includes Kobashi's GOAT title reign, and if you gotta watch any matches from that, you gotta watch Misawa Kobashi, which is one of the first ever Puro matches I ever watched, back on the Wrestling Channel when it was about. And Kobashi,
TWC, I remember that.
Kobashi, the good old TWC, man. And Kobashi versus Jun Akayama, both top matches and 2 of the best in Noah's history. And I think that's pretty much it, really. I know apparently Dragon Gate's been completely killing it, so I gotta really get on that at some point. Yeah. But and TNA had their stream site leaked the other day. I don't know if you saw. I didn't. They got that, see that because they got that little app, haven't they, where you can like stream all of their pay-per-views and everything. Right. For like a certain amount a month. Well, they might be launching a website. And the link kind of got out, and you could access everything for free for like a night at one point. And they've shut it down since then, but there was like someone was like, "Hey, look, the GFW thing is up." I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. That seems to be in a bit of disarray at the moment with things because Jeff Jarrett's been like sent home on leave and all that kind of thing. So
don't know.
Who knows? But that's it. That's all I've got.
Right.
This week. Not a slower week, but
where can everyone find your reviews?
You can go to blazingheart.wordpress.com. It is blazing without a G, and as I've said a number of occasions, no, it's not linked to weed or 420 Blaze. It's Kobashi's theme music. Blazing, which he used in Noah from 2001 to 2005. It's one of the best wrestling theme songs that I like anyway. So.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it for the Hart Attic. I'm gonna cut, copy, print, paste, shirt, edit, close. Done. Okay, the final topic now of this episode is all about the cruiserweights. Yes, we talked about the tag divisions, we talked about the women's divisions. Now it's about the Cruiserweight division and how, like, whether it's a success or not, I suppose we should say. Like,
I suppose how it's come on from when it was revived to now, or like from the classic to now, essentially.
Yes, it's got a championship, fair enough. Yes, it's got its own show. But I just feel the Cruiserweight is just it's a lesser division. It's a throwaway thing. It's where people go to who can't make it anywhere else in the.
It is an issue, I think, but
That's what it feels like.
the biggest problem, I think, was one, giving it its own show, and two,
Yeah.
segregating it. I think someone mentioned before, when they first started and they would just make the ropes purple
Yeah.
and separate it as its own thing, people start to not like.
Yeah.
It becomes
When you
something
separate it, that's what makes it seem like its own little throwaway thing.
Yeah.
And then you started getting cruiserweight title matches on pre-shows, and it was like, I knew it would happen. Like, it's all about perception, and the way I currently perceive the division is just, yes, you get, there's great talent there,
Oh yeah, they've got loads
but
of
it's
great
just nothing
talent.
for me to really care about other than just Neville, who is just a star, Kendrick, and a couple of others, and it's just like,
Well, I really fell off
a lot of it's throwaway.
the bandwagon with it because I was like, oh, 205 Live, and I was like, I'll watch it every week, and then I think I got to March or April, and then I just stopped,
Yeah.
and I barely watched it. Like, I'd watch the show every now and again if I heard something was good or if I was interested in something. Like last
Yeah.
week I watched it because they announced, we're having the 5-man elimination match. I was like, that sounds fun. Then I give that a watch, especially because I know Grand Metalik hasn't been on there much over for months.
Yeah,
And it's nice to see him more
sharing the-
prominent now because they've been chucking him on main event essentially a lot
Yeah.
of the time. And so I was like, multi-man, I get to see Grand Metalik again because he's a good talent and some other good faces. It was a really good match, and that's where the strength lies, and the crowd were into it. And I think obviously they've tried to put Enzo on you to try and boost up fan interaction a bit and try and get people more
I think
to
it's.
watch it.
I think
I'm
it's
not
just because
sure
they
it's-
didn't have anything else for him.
No, I think it's both. I think it's both.
Because you
They
can't
don't
make
have
it
any-
anywhere
You
else.
can't make it anywhere else, and two, it is like he was at least a somewhat over character they could just chuck
Yeah.
in there. So it's a combination really at the end of the day, and like you said, it has done well for people. Like Neville has been in his prime.
Yeah.
Like, this has helped Neville to follow. This is exactly what Neville needed to really, because before that we hadn't seen him for like, he was injured, and
Yeah.
we hadn't seen him on TV for a long while, and it was like, they weren't
tired.
doing much with him. What can you do? And then they brought him in, turned him heel, made him champion. Perfect, and he's still champion now, even though he lost.
Yeah,
it
he
to
lost
Tozawa
it
for
when it
1
won
week.
it back.
But which is a shame because I would
Tozawa.
have liked to have seen Tozawa with it a long time.
Yeah.
Tozawa's worked well with it, but that's because he found his whole thing with the chant, and it's like this
Yeah.
works, and it's working for some people, and some people they just can't.
It's just a barrier for a lot of people. I just find it's a barrier because once you have that stigma attached of, they're a cruiserweight, it's hard to see them anywhere else.
Good.
Like when they put Austin Aries in the Cruiserweight division, I was like, hang on a minute, I know full well that he's a talent capable of US, IC,
Well,
even
that's why
world
he
title
left.
pictures.
That's why he left.
And it was like, when they put into the Cruiserweight division, it's very much, they're attaching a stigma where they are lesser talent because of their weight, that they have to have their own division.
I mean,
And it's like,
it works in like obviously a lot of promotion, mainly in Japan. Japan still have their junior heavyweight things, but they always feel special because they treat them on the level as the heavyweight division, and
like MMA.
exactly.
They're different weight
And
divisions.
some junior heavyweights do move up to the heavyweight. That's what happened with Finn Balor. That's what happened with Zack Sabre and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's all like
But in terms of WWE, it happened with Ray, and that's about it.
Well, if they didn't have the division, if they still had the division now, Balor wouldn't have been up where he is.
Well, you don't think Balor would have been a world's...
No, okay. If they had the cruiserweight, if they never, let's say they never got rid of the cruiserweight division, right?
Never got right. Okay.
Never got rid of it. I'm not saying they brought it back like suddenly. I'm saying if they never got rid of the cruiserweight division,
Right.
and they
Hornswoggle is now a 10-year champ.
WWE had the same mindset they did, Balor would have been in the cruiserweight division. And like, but why does he have, like but he's not in the Cruiserweight division,
No.
and that's because he's
a
got
big ass
a
name.
bigger character and a big name, and he's managed to do that without the Cruiserweight division being around.
That's the thing. Now they are around, it just limits everything. Like Drew Gulak, for instance, he's just a cruiserweight now. He's just a throwaway cruiserweight. Was the muscly guy Tony Nese, the premier athlete? He could have worked in a.
I mean, he doesn't even look like he's a cruiserweight.
In a bigger division, but he's limited now. A lot of them they are now put into the division. Once you're in that division, unless they get rid of the division, it's very hard to come out.
They shouldn't have done the show, and they maybe they at the same time they probably shouldn't have signed like so many people, because that's the problem.
There's a lot of them now,
and also they've slotted the show at the wrong time or the wrong place. After SmackDown, you've got people have seen all they wanted to see, and now you're just stuck with. It's tough to get a crowd.
Like, I get it's the same time as Raw now. They add that extra.
I get that, but if anything, you put it beforehand, not afterwards.
Yeah, I would have thought beforehand. You want SmackDown as your main attraction for that evening.
You keep it under in a smaller place, like where NXT is.
Yeah.
And maybe pre-tape it, air it on a Thursday or something, or air it on or air it after NXT or before NXT. Do it like a double slot. It's positioned in a wrong kind of area. I mean, I don't think it helps that obviously the problem with the problem it had was when people debuted on Raw, there wasn't a big reaction because Cruiserweight Classic was one exclusive to the network.
Yeah.
Two, there's only 1 million, 1.5 million subscribers to the network. Or 1.8 million. I think.
Check
if you check it out,
see what the latest figure is.
I think you find it's something that I think it's around 1.7
I'm
million.
sure I heard 1 million a while back. So I would have thought they would have grown a bit.
They really haven't. Surprisingly, the growth has been really slow.
But they did such a good deal. The network is such a good thing.
I mean, to be fair, they still get 10 million from, that's still 10 million a month when you think about it. If for 1 million subscribers. So they're still good.
$9.99.
But when you think about how many fans they have all over the world, and obviously there's a lot of people.
In April 2017, WWE announced to have a total of 1.949 million subscribers to the network, of which 1.661 million are paid subscribers.
There we go then, 1.6. That's your figure.
Yeah,
it's a reasonable figure, but when you factor in how many people are fans of WWE, that's still quite a small percentage that are even watching that thing. And obviously there's going to be a lot of people who don't watch it on network, they're watching it in other ways.
Watching it at the bar, watching it on Sky,
watching it all that. Illegally online or something, or just things. So it's that outreach meant that's one of the reasons why a general crowd necessarily didn't really know who people were. Yeah,
that's the fact. Even with the Mae Young Classic, that was just on the network, and then of course the finals. The finals was still on the network, but they done it in an arena where people had just watched SmackDown. That's the issue with the tournaments, because they're only on the network. It's almost like saying it's only for the hardcore wrestling fans to.
Well, it's like NXT is only
watch.
Just has. NXT is on not just on the network, is it? It's on other countries on different channels. And NXT is, I think, the only one that's on the network that's kind of had a bit more of an outreach, because it does get kind of shown everywhere else, and obviously it gets lamped on to the big weekends.
Yeah.
So people go see it, and that's how NXT superstars get known by people. But there are people who, I think someone mentioned it before, when I think it was when Ty Dillinger entered the Rumble this year or something, along that, or when someone entered a Rumble or someone entered the thing from NXT, and someone was saying there was kids who just didn't have a clue who this person was.
Bo Dallas.
I think it was Ty. I think Ty Dillinger. Like, kids didn't know who they were.
Could have been Ty.
And they were like, but by the end they like got into them. But it is like sometimes you don't think there is only a certain audience is actually getting everything, so it can be hard for and that's why some people who do get moved up from NXT don't necessarily get over, because there's that kind of not that much buzz about them. I mean, everyone was kind of a bit concerned about how someone like Styles was going to do when he debuted in the Rumble, and his reaction got way bigger than they ever expected.
Like that was good. That was I'm glad that I watched that live. Good moment. But
so it's a really tough one, because like, and obviously the other issue was everything a cruiserweight does, heavyweights do now.
Yeah.
And heavyweights are smaller now than they ever were. That's why the weight limit's 205 when it used to be 220.
That's the other thing. It's like cruiserweights, granted they do maybe a bit more high risk. They do more flips. There's not many flips going on the main, but in terms of just more technical, like cruiserweights, they do a lot of technical wrestling. They do a lot of.
Well, the problem is they didn't just get high flyers. They brought in people like Drew Gulak, who's a technical wrestler. Yeah. But that's not necessarily like a specialty for a cruiserweight. That's what
they're on the main roster as well. Does. So it's like, and a lot of people do the suicide dive. A lot of people do the planches.
Too many people do the same kind of suicide dive.
A lot of people do super kicks and stuff, and it's just like, why do you need this division?
It got to a point where people were joking because they would post a picture of someone in a rear chinlock in the cruisers and be like, "This is the cruiserweight division, ladies and gentlemen," and it's like, you need, like I said, where the strength lies is whenever they have a big multi-man or they have like something fast-paced sprint matches, they come through, and that's where it needs to be. You know what? Fuck the hour, chuck the hour away, make it a 30-minute show, give us like 3 like 5-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute matches, fast-paced action. Or
take the cruiserweights away from Raw, put them on SmackDown, and add the extra hour to SmackDown, so it makes it feel both shows have their 3 hours, both are equal.
That's a good idea.
They got the Cruiserweight division. Don't purple the ropes, don't purple wherever you're purpling, because it just makes it seem like a separate entity, like they're not with everyone else, like they're in their own locker room.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like there's not going to be a longevity here, because I know a lot of people aren't watching on the network. It's getting very low views on the network from what I've heard, so it's not really getting watched as such.
And it's not there's nothing. It's not the fans' fault or anything. The fans want this division. They want the Cruiserweight division, but it's WWE just haven't executed it correctly at all.
Like, the Cruiserweight Classic was a wonderful thing that happened.
It was a wonderful thing,
and I was very happy that it happened. But when I said this way before the Cruiserweight Classic happened. I always said, because I know, I think it's like Squire or someone Squire would always say, bring back the Cruiserweight division, and I always went, no.
I was
don't do it.
Very much of the case. Like, I was more. I mean, they probably won't do it right, but I do want the division. Because
I was like, I didn't want it because there was no, for me, there's no need for it.
Yeah.
And like the smaller guys are getting the shots, Finn Balor's in a heavyweight title match. People like that, people are small.
Wrestlers are in IC or US title.
Wrestlers are smaller now than they ever were. If anything, people start bringing in like big belt. I know
that's true.
Like Progress brought in the Atlas title just for big lads because there's not enough big lads on the indie scene, like that kind of thing. So it's like, maybe that's what I should do next. The Hoss Classic, the Strongman Classic.
Big Show, Kane, Henry, Braun, Lesnar,
bringing all the big guys.
Carly. Or a division. But like in general, because the standard wrestler, I guess, is kind of smaller now compared to before, where there was just mainly big men.
Like I think the average weight probably would have been between, like, for a heavyweight used to be like somewhere between like 260,
250,
like
300.
300 odd pounds, and now it's more like 220, 225, 230
Yeah.
upwards. There's not enough of a divide there to warrant it. And okay, you're giving superstars a chance, but you're stuck in a loophole. You're stuck in it's a dead end.
You've got too many people on your roster now. You're trying to. Oh, right. Technically you have your Raw roster. Technically, then you have your Cruiserweight roster. If we split it, there's Raw superstars that are not getting their opportunity because WWE are adamant about getting like 2 Cruiserweight matches on this show to make sure, it's the Cruiserweight, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, if you didn't create this division, everyone on Raw could have their own opportunity, including the Cruiserweights.
Exactly.
Or people of less weight, people under 205.
Like if Balor's able to work with these heavyweights, then everyone else, there's no problem.
Like Kendrick, he could easily work in I want to say, whatever division. He could work in any division. Like,
I agree.
He's not limited by his weight. A lot of them aren't limited by their weight. They're just limited by this Cruiserweight division.
This Cruiserweight title.
Like, even if it was a case of they just didn't make a deal about it, and they just had, here's the Cruiserweight title, this is for whatever weight, and they just let them get on with it instead of different show, different ropes, different everything, making it seem like a separate thing. No, they need to be part of the roster, which is what it kind of used to be when it was on SmackDown.
Yeah, it was.
It was very much, it was just part of the roster. It was like a thing, an attraction you'd see on the roster. I don't know.
Well, I can't see them keeping on with it for that much longer.
Yeah.
As we'll see how it goes by the end of the year mark.
Pre-show way too much now.
Once it gets to the year mark, I feel like they may go okay.
Yeah.
And they may reconsider just even bothering with it, which is a tough thing. But I'd rather them not do it than have something that just feels like a bit of a stale product. That there's no investment there. I'd rather just cut it.
Split the cruiserweights between the rosters.
And just do something like that. It's just, it was fine. You had a go. You give it a good go. Yeah. But unfortunately,
it's not working.
I don't think it's working.
Not with. I'm just trying. No, even having them split across 2 shows, that like Raw and SmackDown, having like an overall cruiserweight division, that still wouldn't work because you're still separating them.
I just don't know. Like, just keep them. Just don't have the 205 live. Make everything have the cruiserweight title matches on Raw. Like they stopped colouring the ropes on Raw now. That's a great way. Yeah, they don't. Apparently the time was just too much. It was too much effort essentially.
It is.
Which it is, and it's pointless. Just don't bother because it
literally. When I went to Orlando to watch it, you'd have at least 6 to 8 ring crew. Literally, a match ends, people have just gotten out to the ring, swarm the ring, they need to change everything, and I think it was on Raw where Neville was already making his entrance, and they had just barely finished when he got down to like the mats.
No good.
And it's like, why are you putting so much effort doing all that when there's just no need for it? But we digress. Basically, the Cruiserweight division is a bit shaky at the moment, and it's not because of the wrestlers. The wrestlers are fantastic.
The is great. The
execution of the division.
Yeah, it needs to either cut it or just do something else. I think get 205 live off. Don't give it its own separate show. Let it just fester itself on Raw or SmackDown. Maybe obviously Raw's 3 hours, so it works better.
It's like I don't know how it would work, but obviously, say you're on the main roster anyway. you have a shot at the US title, you have a shot at the world title, you can get a tag partner and get the tag titles. If you want a transgender operation, you go for the women's title then. When you're in the Cruiserweight division, it's like the only title you can go for is the Cruiserweight title. Why not have a Cruiserweight go for the IC title? Why not have a Cruiserweight go for the US title? Just branch out a little.
So all you've got there, because otherwise all you've got there is just people you're just making feuds that have nothing to them.
Yeah, it's like, oh well,
just to put them on a show.
Yeah, they're restricted. Let it be
It's
more
restrictive.
flowing.
It's not
I'd love to have
working.
Neville maybe lose the belt and then be like, oh, you know what? I want the IC title, prestigious title, blah blah blah, or whatever. Oh well, that's it. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
We've drained our thoughts on the cruiserweights now.
I can. Yeah.
So that's it for topic 3. Thank you for joining. If you like what you saw, don't forget to give us the old like button down below, down there. If you would like to watch any more, click on the subscribe button. If you'd like to get notified each and every time we upload a video, click on the bell button next to the subscribe button. And all our different things, channels and stuff will be down in the description below. You can join the Conquest via a number of different ways. You can support us on Patreon. Yes, patreon.com/join the Conquest. If you do so, it will be just amazing. We would love you eternally, because that would help us continue, develop and expand on the Conquest, and we can take over the world together. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/conquestcg, and you can follow us on Twitter at @run_conquest. We have Instagram, we have Twitch, we have YouTube, of course, because you're here. We have an editorial website which we put up game news, reviews and opinion articles. Also film reviews go up. Hopefully we will be expanding more in the future, but we need your help for that. So thank you very much. This has been No Flips, Just Mike's episode
10.
I have been one of your hosts, Rhys Baldwin. He has been the other host, Eric Hart.
I have. Well done.
And for joining, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next time on No Flips, Just Mike's. And all that's left to do is to ring the bell.